Have you ever met someone who truly believed they were doing everything right, only to find out their liver was under strain? That happens more often than people think. I remember a woman who seemed to have the perfect routine. She exercised, she paid attention to labels, she avoided junk food. Every morning she had what she believed was the healthiest possible breakfast. And yet her test results showed something she never expected. She looked at me and said, "How is this possible? I've been trying so hard to do the right thing." And that question matters, because many people assume liver trouble only shows up in those who eat heavily processed food every day or ignore their health completely. But that is not always the case. Sometimes the problem begins inside routines that look healthy on the surface. That is why I want to talk to you about one very common mistake. Not to frighten you, but to help you notice it early. Your liver is one of the hardest working organs in your body. Quietly, every day, it helps process nutrients, supports digestion, stores energy, and helps your body handle substances it no longer needs. It keeps working in the background without asking for attention. And that is part of the problem. The liver can be under pressure for a long time before a person notices anything at all. That is why small, everyday habits matter so much. Now, let me say something clearly. Fruit itself is not the enemy. Whole fruit can absolutely be part of a balanced diet, but there is a big difference between eating one apple with fiber and slowly chewing it, and starting the day with a large glass of juice, sweetened yogurt, honey, dried fruit, and a smoothie made from several pieces of fruit blended together. That is where many people get into trouble. The issue is not just sugar in the obvious sense. It is the overall sugar load, especially when it comes in forms that are easy to drink, easy to overconsume, and very low in fiber. Juice, syrups, fruit concentrates, sweetened healthy snacks, granola mixes, flavored yogurts, dried fruit, and many so-called wellness products can add up quickly. And because these foods often wear a healthy label, people lower their guard. They think it's natural. They think it's organic. They think there's no white sugar in it, so it must be fine. But your body still has to process all of it. This is why I always recommend looking beyond the front of the package. Words like natural, fitness, organic, no refined sugar, or sweetened with fruit do not automatically make something easy on your liver. Sometimes they simply make a product easier to trust. And this is where a simple shift can make a real difference. Instead of drinking your fruit, eat it whole. Instead of a large morning smoothie, choose a breakfast with more balance. Instead of sweet snacks between meals, build meals that keep you satisfied longer. That brings me to the first practical step. Reduce the constant flow of hidden sugars. Not by becoming fearful of every food, but by being honest about what you are consuming. If you regularly start the day with juice, sweet yogurt, granola, honey, dried fruit, flavored oatmeal, or snack bars, this may be the place to begin. Many people feel better simply by replacing liquid sugars and heavily sweetened health foods with simpler meals. A more supportive breakfast might include eggs, plain yogurt with nuts, oatmeal without sweet syrups, or a savory meal that does not send your energy up and down so quickly. The second step is to support digestion in a simple, practical way. Your liver works closely with the digestive system, so daily habits around meals matter. I often suggest slowing down, eating regular meals instead of grazing all day, drinking enough water, and including foods that are not overly processed. For some people, adding bitter greens like arugula or other leafy vegetables before a meal can be a useful part of a balanced diet. It is not a miracle trick, it is just one small habit that may support a better routine. The third step is to give the body the building blocks it needs. Your body repairs and renews itself using nutrients from real food. That means enough protein, enough healthy fats, and meals that do not rely on constant sweetness to feel enjoyable. Eggs, fish, olive oil, plain yogurt, beans, vegetables, and simple whole foods often do much more for long-term health than products marketed as special wellness solutions. And then there is a fourth step that many people overlook completely. Give your body breaks from constant eating. I am not talking about extreme fasting or harsh dieting. I am talking about stopping the habit of eating from morning until late at night without a real pause. For many people, finishing dinner earlier and avoiding late night snacking can be very helpful. When the body is not constantly busy processing food, it gets more time to focus on restoration and regulation. Sometimes the most helpful change is not eating less, it is eating with more rhythm. Now, let's talk about what you can actually put on your table. If you want to support your liver, keep it simple. Fatty fish a few times a week can be a smart choice. Vegetables, especially fiber-rich ones, deserve a regular place in your meals. Whole foods generally do more for you than packaged foods with long ingredient lists. Olive oil can be a helpful everyday fat. Coffee, if it suits you and you tolerate it well, may also fit into a supportive routine for many adults when it is not loaded with sweet syrups and dessert-style add-ins. And what would I be more careful with? Large amounts of fruit juice, sweetened smoothies, dried fruit as a daily snack in big portions, sweet yogurts and flavored oatmeal, snack bars that look healthy but are basically candy in a different costume, and all those natural syrups people add without thinking twice. Again, this is not about perfection, it is about awareness. Because the liver does not need trendy rules, it needs less daily overload. And here is the encouraging part. The liver is remarkably resilient. When you reduce the pressure on it, support digestion, eat more balanced meals, and stop flooding your system with hidden sugars, positive changes can begin. Not overnight, not through a miracle cure, but through steady habits that make sense and that you can actually live with. That is what I want people to understand. You do not need a dramatic reset. You do not need to panic. You do not need to believe every product labeled healthy. What you need is a calmer, smarter routine. If your breakfast looks healthy but leaves you hungry again quickly, pay attention. If you depend on sweet snacks all day, pay attention. If most of your healthy foods come in packages, bottles, bars, or pouches, pay attention. Sometimes the mistake is not eating badly. It is trusting the wrong version of healthy. So here is the takeaway. Choose whole fruit more often than juice. Build meals around real food, not sweet marketing. Drink water regularly. Avoid constant snacking. Read labels with care. And give your liver fewer things to struggle with every single day. Small choices, repeated daily, can change a lot. And if this message reaches you at the right time, then maybe today is the perfect moment to make one simple change and let your body begin working in your favor again.